Well, good evening and welcome to the LBJ Grasslands outside of Decatur, Texas. As you might have guessed, tonight's exercise is a battery burn down test in turbo of the POWERTAC W.O.F.T. I had hoped to film this a couple months earlier. I can only apologize to viewers. I'm still running almost 2 months behind based on delays that were caused earlier in the summer due to some very substantial health issues with my mother. I can only promise that I am going to take the fall to get completely caught up. I wanted you to see the area that I'll be filming. It's approximately 25 yards to that fallen tree ahead of me. If you look straight ahead, the tall tree in the background there, that's roughly 75 to 80. I'm going to have the W.O.F.T mounted just underneath the camera, so it'll be facing approximately in that direction in turbo. This is not a beam test. I've already recorded the full field test. I did a burn down test in high. Both of those videos are on the channel. This will be a time-lapse video of the burn down in turbo. All right, let's let the sun go down and we'll get started. There is approximately a 1/8 moon to the upper left of the display. However, it is hidden by the tops of the trees as of the start of this video. Well, here we are back in the home studio. Very interesting test. High, consistent output all the way until that final step down. Now, I was positioned well behind the camera and off to one side or the other. After a couple of minutes, it did seem, if you look out on the fringes, like there was just a very, very tiny, almost imperceptible step down. I don't have an integrating sphere. I can't say exactly what lumen output that light was at the duration of the test, but it was a very high, very strong output, probably overkill for 95% of the situations you might find yourself in, where you're in a jam, you have a small handheld light, you need to use it to find your way across the path. If it was me, I would just use medium and high and let the output vary based on the terrain. We did beat the vendor stated runtime. Now, especially for people who are new to this business, I should explain that runtimes that you see on websites are supposed to be measured according to the ANSI FL1 standard. Very roughly, very approximately. That is the amount of time it takes with a completely charged battery to place the light in a specific output level. Some references will state that the light can initially be on no more than 30 seconds before it's placed in that output level until the output decays to 10% of that level. Well, here's an interesting question. We had a very flat output and then a hard step down. But that step down impressed me as being at a higher lumen level than 10% of the peak turbo output. Well, what's your runtime if you never actually hit 10%? Well, you're going to have to interpolate. Oftentimes there is an element of estimation in the runtimes. What I've found with about 13 years of experience with POWERTAC lights is that runtime estimates tend to be a bit on the conservative side. Also, I didn't show the amount of time it takes to go from peak output to 10%. We went all the way off. So it's not surprising that we beat that output level. We also came very close within a few minutes of matching the results that I saw in the high burn down. My personal belief, and this is just my personal speculation, is that's largely due to the temperature difference in the two tests. The high test being done during the dead of summer, a very hot summer, and then the turbo burn down being done over probably the closest I will ever get to indoor lab conditions in an outdoor environment. Well, if you're one of the people who requested this test, I hope you got what you were looking for. It's very interesting for me to go out in the field and collect these data points. If you're interested, I may do it again in the dead of winter just to see what the time differential is. But that's going to wrap it up for this particular test. And as always, until the next review, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for watching the video.